Hello everybody, good morning and welcome to the United Stand. This is your latest Manchester United news and transfer news. I hope you're all doing very well this morning. Lots to discuss as ever. Paul Pogba rejects Manchester United. Raphael Varane returns to Real Madrid training ground, but not for as long as you might thought. A little bit on Goretzka, a little bit on Jesse Lingard and a few other things as well. But we're going to start off with, look, big news. I mean, a potential double transfer blow for Manchester United here. Raphael Varane returning to training with Real Madrid is not ideal, and Paul Pogba rejecting a new contract with Manchester United is not ideal. But I think that there are people, if we start off with let's start off with Varane and then we can talk about Pogba, because Pogba's a bigger picture. So the latest with Raphael Varane, and let's take it from Fabrizio Romano here, because it's the best place to start, I suppose. He's tweeted out this morning basically saying that with Raphael Varane, Raphael Varane has just arrived at training for Real Madrid because he doesn't want to break his relationship with Real Madrid, and he's respecting the club and Florentino Perez. He knows Manchester United are in talks with Real Madrid. He wants a Premier League experience, contract almost ready. It's now up to the clubs. So that's where we are with that. Now, he hasn't actually trained with Real Madrid. What he's done is he's gone in and he's done medical checkups. This actually isn't unusual. He's not trained with Real Madrid for a couple of months. He's not trained at all for about a month since he played with France. So you don't just go in for your first day, get your kit on and start training with the lads. You've got to have some medical checkups first. So he's now left. That's not a huge issue in relation to that. I think that what I would say is that this deal really needs to get done very, very quickly, because he will be back training with that team very soon. In fact, in some ways, he may have already spoken to Ancelotti or people at Real Madrid. And I think that there is a risk attached to that if he does start, re-establishing himself at Real Madrid, they have got a new coach. There is that risk that he might want to stay. I don't think he will. I've got to say, I'm still 90%, and I'm not saying that this transfer is going to fall down or anything like that. I think the fact remains that he wants to leave, that he has only got 1 year left on his contract, and Real Madrid are not offering anywhere near as much as we are. And I think there is a very advanced stage talks with Manchester United. There are still, I think people are getting stuck in the detail here. You can't sign off personal terms until we've agreed terms with Real Madrid. But what happens is, if I knock on your door or ring you up and say, I want you to come and work for the United Stand, this is what I'm offering you, would you take it? And you go, yeah, I would, but we can't sign it now, can we? I says, no, I've got to go and speak to your current employer. Then I go and speak to the current employer and we start negotiating. But I already know you're going to sign the deal when I've done that. And that's the situation with Varane. So people talking about personal terms have not been done. How the hell do you think Varane wants to come to United if he hasn't agreed personal terms? And the personal terms are his bloody wages mainly. So personal terms are not an issue. This is about a fee with Real Madrid. And as we spoke about yesterday, it feels like Real Madrid want 50 million and United want to pay 40 million. Well, 50 million is nearly 60 million euros and 40 million is nearly 50 million euros. We are haggling over the price. But the longer we haggle over the price, the more training sessions he'll have at Real Madrid, and that becomes a little bit of a risk. But at this moment in time, I'm not really that worried. Thanks again, Mark, for allowing me to take the photo yesterday. Says Harvey, keep up the good work. Yeah, it was a good night, Harvey. Thank you very much, Harvey. I can't remember the name of the pub last night in London, but we had a nice bit of grub and a couple of pints. It was nice. Nice to meet you, Harvey. Thank you very much. I know Christian Falk has tweeted about Goretzka, notorious nerd, but I do have my finger on the pulse, which is why we have a morning news show. I'm not putting Goretzka ahead of Pogba and Varane, so it's going to come in later, like I said a few minutes ago. If you use those, you'll enjoy it a lot more. So in relation to Varane, I'm hoping that over the next couple of days we get some advancement on this deal, because it's typical United again. I don't care what anybody says. We are in the typical United groove here. And it's not a groove we want to dance to. It's a slow groove. This ain't the twist and shout. This ain't some, break dancing. This is like side to side, swing your pants, slow crap groove of United. And they'll be trying to save 5 million. That's what they'll be trying to do. They'll be trying to save a little bit of money. But, Solskjaer will be like, just get this bloody deal done. Varane will be like, get this deal done. And of course, you're dealing with a professional in Raphael Varane as well. You know, the longer we take to do this deal, the more he might think, you know what, this ain't the club for me. Hello, how are you doing? Says Yazza. I'm doing very, very well. Thank you for the super chat. So Varane, I'm not massively worried about, but he was back in training today, and I suppose there is always that risk. And I know how some of you work, and you don't trust this football club, and you will be thinking we're going to mess this deal up. I don't think we will. I think it's still going to happen. I think even Manchester Evening News, they're quite confident it's going to happen. They're one of the few English press outlets that are actually quite on the ball with this deal. So, yeah, I think it will happen. Now let's talk about Paul Pogba. This is the big topic. Paul Pogba rejects United. So, late last night, a story came in from The Mirror. Disco Mirror is the person on Twitter. Now, this is the person who said that Mourinho was going to get the sack in the next 24 hours, and he didn't. He's been wrong a couple of times on quite big things. But what he said is, and JB Park says, Pogba at the end of the contract is a must sell. Don't understand how people cannot see the obvious. Better use time, energy to find a replacement, Mark. Good super chat. Let me just state the story and then we'll delve into this. So Paul Pogba has apparently rejected a new deal from Manchester United worth £350,000 a week. He's on less than that at the moment. I think he's on about £250,000, £300,000 a week. So he's rejected a pay rise of £350,000 a week. Now forget the fact whether he's worth that or not. I would argue that he probably isn't worth that, but he's rejected it. Welcome to the Members Club, Amrit as well. So does that surprise me that Paul Pogba has rejected a new contract at Manchester United? No, it doesn't, because he's been quite open to the fact that he wants to leave the club for the last 2 years. At Christmas, we got thrown under the bus by his agent, and, you know, it's his agent, so he must have had some involvement in this, I'm never going to sign a new contract, I don't want to be here. He's been very professional the last few months because he's a professional, and I think he's a nice guy. Has he changed his mind? Doesn't look like it. He looks like he's resolutely wants to leave Manchester United. And I think that's something that some United fans aren't aware about and just don't want to face up to. I like Paul Pogba, and I'm going to tell you what I think should happen in a minute. But to me, the evidence has never changed that he wants to leave our football club. He doesn't want to play for our football club. And I think that's been clear for a couple of years. So him rejecting a new contract doesn't surprise me. My stance is that he's going to run his contract down. Now, we're being told that PSG are interested, and we're being told that United want to sell him to PSG, and people are talking about replacements. The first thing I want to say is stop wasting your energy and hope on replacements. Stop talking about Jack Grealish. Stop talking about, you know, decent replacements. I don't think there will be a Paul Pogba replacement. What I was hopeful for at the start of the season, and if you watched my video yesterday where I was talking about this £500 million super team that Ollie's constructed, it had Fred and Pogba in the midfield. Pogba leaves McFred. That's it. With Donny sat on the bench. We won't buy a Pogba replacement because Ollie wants to play McFred anyway. So with Pogba out of the scene, he doesn't have to fit Pogba in on the left wing or whatever anymore. He can just not have Pogba and play McTominay and Fred all the time. So I don't think there'll be a Pogba replacement. And Jack Grealish isn't a Pogba replacement anyway. Since when has Jack Grealish played in the midfield as a box-to-box midfielder? So we won't get Grealish, he's too expensive. We won't buy a Pogba replacement. He'll just pick McTominay and Fred. So this, to me, is bad news. And I'll tell you why I think it's bad news. I just want to read these super chats. Mark, it feels like deja vu. I've seen you in the same videos about Sancho. 90% this club has failed so many times. You're playing ballsy, man, says Shake. It's a news show, Shake. I don't know whether you figured that out after 6 years, but it's a news show. I don't write the news, and unfortunately there is some news this morning about Varane, so I have to talk about it. I think we'll be okay with Pogba gone. It might give Donny a chance to play. Yash, no chance. I find it funny, why do we always penny pinch with transfer fees but then offer many players ridiculous wages, says Jay. I think Roy Keane was right a couple of seasons ago back when he said United will survive without Pogba. Trust me, for better Pogba than Donny. This is Trading with Kieran. Sancho is closer than close. You can almost touch it and feel it and say hello to it. I mean, Yaz, I don't even talk about Jadon Sancho. I don't know why I'm being mentioned about Sancho. I don't talk about Sancho now. Maybe he'll sign today. Maybe he'll sign in a year. I don't know. He is a Man United player. I've just got no idea. I'm going to talk about Goretzka in a minute. I'm more interested in talking about Pogba. Thank you very much. So, basically, with Pogba, I thought about this before I went live, and I want to know what people think about this, because I think the initial reaction is people go, get rid of him. He doesn't want to be at the club. We'll be better off without him. I've taken my emotion out of this, because Paul Pogba's better than any midfielder that we've got. Whatever you think about him wanting to sign a new contract, he is the best midfielder we've got. And I don't class Bruno as a midfielder, because Bruno's more attacking. we can't sit here, no matter how stubborn and how much we want to bang our chests in the badge and say Man United above anything else. We're owned by businessmen. So banging your chest about Man United is somewhat futile anyway, because our passion is in the hands of greedy businessmen who don't even support the club. So this banging of the chest saying United are better off without Pogba, we're owned by people worse than Pogba. So there's a hypocrisy there. When you take the passion out of it, we're about to lose one of our best midfielders. And that, to me, isn't a good thing. I want to start the season with Varane at the back, Sancho on the right and Pogba in the midfield. I don't want to start the season with Varane at the back, Sancho on the right and McTominay and Fred in the midfield. And that's what's going to happen. Because anybody who's talking about Van der Beek, I'm a massive fan of Van der Beek. How many games did he get last year? Hardly any. He won't pick Van der Beek over McTominay and Fred. So we're going to see McTominay and Fred next season if Paul Pogba leaves. Now, I don't think Paul Pogba's going to leave. I'm going to stay with what I've always said. I think he will be a United player next season, and I think he will go in a year. Now, United may make a decision to sell him this summer and get what they can for him, but it sort of gets to the point that is 40 million quid for Pogba better than nothing in a year's time? And look, I'm being a bit of a hypocrite here because I've said in the past you've got to get something, but I just don't. I think when the closer it comes to a reality, the more I think, you know what? I don't want McTominay and Fred to play in the midfield, so Pogba for one more year is probably preferable to that. But I don't think he's going to go anyway. He's going to reject a contract. That doesn't even bother me. I don't know why people are getting their knickers in a twist that Paul Pogba's rejected a contract. It was bloody obvious he was going to reject a contract. He doesn't want to be here. And even if he's going to sign a new contract with United, I'd wait till next summer to do it because he'll be being offered £500,000 a week. So not signing a new contract for me is not breaking news. It's whether we're going to sell him in the next 6 weeks or not. And I really hope that we're not, because I don't think we'll replace him. And I think then we're going to be a worse team for it. And it's as I said, you buy Sancho, but you lose Pogba. Is that a step forward? Marginally, maybe. Some would say not. Spot on, Mark. Pogba does not get replaced if he goes. I would rather he leaves on a free transfer. We would really need to rely too much on Bruno. And as great as he is, every player is susceptible to injuries and dips in form, says Carrie Moore. Jaden not announced as we may not have another big signing. What if it's the current squad next season, says Amit. Well, we're in big trouble. Hi, Mark. Imagine starting the season with McFred and Magala for the first few games. Might cost us some important points in the long run. We'd probably win a ditty. It'd just be boring, wouldn't it? Ollie should leave Pogba. Leave before Pogba does. What's the point of signing Varane and Sancho if you still play McFred? The football will still be boring, says Julian. And Pogba will enjoy his last season at United. He's a professional on the pitch, says Bookings, DJ Marley. And Ben Anderson says, if Pogba wants to go, then let him go. Why are we worried by this? The game against Switzerland summed him up to United. Flashes of genius combined with moments of madness. But the trouble is, Ben, and look, I appreciate it. And I know a lot of people will agree with what Ben is saying there. But to everybody who says, get rid of Pogba, what's the point in keeping a player that doesn't want to be here? It's a bit like being married to somebody you really, really find attractive and they want to leave you and you just go, well, get out. I may as well get somebody in bed with me who's boring. You know, that. Are you going to fight for the thing that's your love of your life, or are you going to just go, off you go and enjoy yourself with somebody else, get me somebody boring in bed? Like, this is what I don't understand, this argument of just let Pogba go. We did it with Herrera. People actually said when Herrera went, we can get better than Herrera. We never bloody replaced him. Ronaldo left. Nobody said this, but if they had, well, we can get somebody better in. We got Michael Owen in. Like, we don't replace quality players. So I understand people being proud and United through and through and all that jazz, but we're owned by the Glazers. Your United through and through thing is a very personal thing. I wish it was a club thing, but it's not. The club is run by Prats, basically. So this pride before a fall, United. I mean, I am like that, but I'm also pragmatic. The club's not run like that. So if the club was run by people like us, we would show Pogba the door and say, get out and bring somebody in. But that's not what the Glazers will do. We won't replace Pogba. So it's all right saying, get rid of Pogba, we don't want him anyway. We're replacing him with McTominay and Fred. Like, of course that's a loss. Doesn't matter what your personal vibes are on it. It's a loss. It's a big loss because McTominay and Fred ain't fit to lace the boots of Paul Pogba. So it is a loss for United. It is a bad thing. It's how we handle it. And I don't know. The closer we get to the start of the season, the more I hope Pogba's going to run his contract down. I don't know whether that's the right thing for United. It probably isn't, but I want to see Pogba in this team next season for United because he's way better than anything we've got. JP Park says, is Ruben Neves Goretzka popping up from last week as a replacement for Pogba? Just a thought. Nope. JP Park. There is going to be an update on the midfield later on, and I have got an update, but these players are not coming in to replace Paul Pogba. Goldie, with no Pogba and Martial on the bench, who's the English press going to be picking on next year? Best mate Doug is a prat, says Mike John. De Gea, Bruno. Yeah. There'll be plenty more that they can pick on. So yeah, Pogba's rejected a contract. If he's going to go, United are looking at around £50 million to get for him from PSG. PSG is the only option, but PSG can't afford him at the moment. They'd have to sell players first. Maybe we do a swap deal with PSG for somebody. I don't know, but I'm sort of going to take a little bit of time on this Pogba thing because I don't want him to go. I've never wanted him to go because I think he's way better than anything that we've got. And I just don't trust United. They won't replace him. They'll use the 50 million towards Varane. That's what they'll do. We'll end up with an 80 million pound net spend or something like that. This theory that we're going to replace Pogba with somebody really good, I don't see it. I don't think United are acting like that. And I think, for me, a good transfer window is Varane, Sancho, a midfielder, and Pogba stays. A bad transfer window is Varane, Sancho, sell Pogba, and Lingard stays, and Matic stays, and Mata stays. I don't really see that as a huge shift in changing, because you weaken your midfield to strengthen your centre back and your wing, and the midfield's very important. Nitram says, if Ollie flops, which manager fits our squad best? Not talking about it, Nitram. With all due respect, you're going to have that chat with anyone who wants to have that chat with you. We're talking about trying to sign a centre back, trying to keep hold of one of our best players, and we've not even kicked a ball, and you want me to spend time talking about a replacement for Solskjaer. Wrong show, not in that mood. It solves nothing to spend any energy on that. We've got big issues at the moment. We might end up with fucking McFred in midfield again because Pogba might leave. Manager situation will take care of itself. It's not a debate I want to get into. Mark, I want Pogba ASAP. I'm done living with the uncertainty and with his agents' disrespect. We're Manchester United and we will survive. Says Karen. I think you missed the word out. And Julian says, has Ollie weakened the goalkeeping department due to his indecision? If De Gea goes, we've lost a world-class goalkeeper. We've already lost the best second. Joe Scott goal, says Julian. Pogba wants to go PSG, want him but need to sell a few to make soon. Why not go Marquinhos, Pogba swap? Because we're just about to buy a centre-back, Amy. And Mots, thank you for the super chat. And Renate, thanks for the super sticker as well. Okay, so let's just see what happens with Paul Pogba. I don't know. I'm just going to say what I've always said. I think he will be here next season. I think he'll run his contract down. And I think United have made a bloody mess of this again. Going back to that previous chat, we've made a mess of the goalkeeping situation. That is a mess, the goalkeeping situation. We're paying £500,000 a week for two goalkeepers, and that's not going to resolve itself anytime soon. Pogba's about to leave. One way or the other, and it's just taking over everything again. We still haven't announced Sancho. We're still pissing around after Varane, but people want to believe everything's changed. Oh, we're walking in like a boss now. Ed Woodward's still at the club, by the way, and Matt Judge is still negotiating. But apparently everything's so great at United now. No, it can be great, but where's the proof? Where is the proof in the pudding? When are they going to start delivering? Because yet again, we're approaching August. And we've not actually announced anybody except for Tom Heaton. Nobody's been sold, and we've got a reserve goalkeeper. And it's nearly August. Let that settle for a minute, because there's a shitload of deadwood that needs clearing out, and there's a lot of business that needs to be done in relation to coming in. And at the moment, we're not there. We're not there at the moment, are we? I'd keep Pogba for another year to win major trophy, says Vipan. I mean, to me, that is the gamble. Do you keep Pogba for another year? Or do you cash in on him now? As a United fan, I don't know where I sit, but just figure this. Would you rather get £50 million for Pogba now and it doesn't get spent on a replacement, or would you rather keep Pogba for another year? And that's where my head is at, because I know I will have said in the last few months, don't let him run his contract down. We've got to get something for him. But that mindset is totally about getting money for him and replacing him. Thinking about it now as it becomes more of a reality, I don't think we will spend the money we get for him anyway. So to me, as a United fan, I'm either letting Pogba go now or get one more year out of him. I'd probably get another year out of him, because that money that we get for Pogba, I don't think we'll spend it. I think it will go towards Sancho and Varane. I don't think we'll spend that money. So I wouldn't let Pogba go. I'd keep him for another year. Individual talent is good, but balance is always better. Pogba, Fred versus Donny, Saul. Lose Pogba, but replace him might be upgrade, in my opinion. Keep up the good work. Yeah, but you're all, Tommy, I respect that. You're all talking about upgrades. Do your research on Manchester United under the Glazers. Do they upgrade or replace good players? In the main, no, they don't. So I don't trust them on this Pogba thing. I'm sure the Glazers are saying cash in because they want to balance the books, and that money will go straight into their pocket. I don't think we'll see that money on Pogba. You get to keep Pogba for the season, but he leaves for free. But we sign Goretzka and Camavinga for free the following season. Are we better or worse? Says James Petit. Well, this is what James is spot on. This is what United need to do. United, if we're going to lose Pogba for free, we better be getting some other deals. And the world of football is changing. Yeah, look, maybe Harry Kane's going to Man City for 160 million. Good luck. United shouldn't be anywhere near that. It's ridiculous money. But, Mbappe's free in a year. Camavinga's free in a year. Goretzka's free in a year. There's lots of players that are free in a year, and that's the market United need to start getting into. Because if we're going to lose Pogba for free, we better start doing some good deals ourselves for free. But look, we'll see what happens with Pogba. I think, as I said yesterday morning, it's funny how it works out, isn't it? I said yesterday morning that the Pogba bandwagon isn't really a bandwagon because he'll run his contract down. But actually, maybe it is going to become a bit of a bandwagon. Maybe PSG are going to push to buy him, and maybe Man United will push to sell him. But I still think Pogba will be here next season, hopefully. I fear if we keep Pogba for another season, we could lose both Pogba and Donny next season. We'll end up losing two quality midfielders. Fergus, I personally think people who are thinking that Donny van der Beek is Pogba's replacement have had their head buried in the sand like an ostrich for the last year. There was plenty... Pogba played on the left wing and was injured, and still Donny didn't start. So this Donny is Pogba's replacement bullshit needs to stop, because the evidence is already there. Ollie didn't use Donny as Pogba's replacement. He didn't. He put Pogba on the wing, and when Pogba was injured, he hardly used Donny. He likes McFred. Donny, I don't know what Donny is. I wish he was seen as a first team player, but let's not beat about the Kate Bush here. The reality is, Ollie ignored Donny most of last season. He wasn't a Pogba replacement. He was a nothing. He didn't use him. Maybe that's going to change this season, but anybody who's going, let's sell Pogba and use Donny, I still say it's conceivable that even with Pogba not in the club, Donny could play as little as he did last year. Ollie's got to want to use Donny van der Beek. That's the first hurdle. Regardless of whether you think he's a Pogba replacement, Ollie's got to start using him. And that was the problem last year. There was plenty of opportunities to use him and he didn't do it. Do you think Pogba will give 100% in last season? If not, is it worth keep hearing from Raiola and disturbing the dressing room? Remember Leipzig games, says Sarvish. Good point. If we had Pep or Klopp at United, I wouldn't mind Pogba leaving, but with Ollie in, I will be worried, says Mahan. Okay, let's move on from Pogba, because I'm sure that's going to run and we could just spend a lot of time talking about it. Jesse Lingard, this is an update from Fabrizio Romano. It's a waiting game with Jesse Lingard. Basically, Fabrizio is saying that Manchester United and West Ham are the only options. He won't go anywhere else. He'll either go to West Ham or he'll stay at Manchester United, which is interesting because I think if Everton were interested, I think that would be a good move for Jesse, but they have just bought Damari Gray and I think they've got Andros Townsend, haven't they now? So maybe they're not looking for another player who's, that sort of flair, quick sort of type player. So maybe Lingard's future is West Ham or Manchester United. I think Manchester United will keep Jesse Lingard. I think this is just poor business. I think he's not the quality that we need. And what I mean by that is I think he'll start the season well because he's always super fit. But I think as the season drags on, he'll just become, peripheral bench player. And that's no good for Jesse. He should be playing first team football. If he values his career, he needs to go to West Ham and be the star. That's what he needs to do. If he doesn't value his career and he just wants to be part of United's journey, then that's fine. And I think United will give him a new contract. But I think Lingard's too good to sit on United's bench and fight for a bench place with people like Juan Mata. I think he's better than that. But I don't think he's good enough to start for United. So And I think a team that's got Jesse Lingard in it and Fred and McTominay is not a title-winning team, I'm afraid. So I hope he goes for the right reasons, but I think we will end up giving him a new contract, especially if Pogba goes. I think we'll go, we need more of this. And I did read something today, and I can't remember what it was. I think as a fan base, and I hope people take this the right way. This statement, they're United through and through. I think it's a great statement, but I also think when people say about these people, they love the club, they're United through and through, and you know who I'm talking about. We're talking about the young players that come through and they're part of the youth set. I'm not talking about the Rashfords and the Greenwoods, because I think they would get in anywhere. But these other players who are United through and through, and it's almost that's the reason people like them. But I look at them and I go, well, they might be United through and through, and they might love the club. But why is that something to be like, this is why I love them, because they love the club? Because I'd be United through and through. I love the club. I'd run around like a madman. I'd love it. But would these players that are United through and through, would they go anywhere? Would anyone else want them in the top 6? No, they wouldn't. West Ham might want them. Preston North End might want them. But you know what I mean? There are certain players who I think get picked regularly for United who are... they're United through and through. They love the club. And that's almost a trait. That's almost like, Bruno's good at penalties. This lad loves the club. But would they get into the top 6? Bruno would. But these love the club through and throughs. They probably would do well to make it on the bench for those teams. Yet they're first teamers for us. And I think, we are almost... I go back to the ideals of the club at the moment, and we see it with the coaching staff as well. It's almost become a trait that's valued as much as talent. They're United through and through, and they love the club. Give them a job on the coaching staff. Give them a job. Give them a team. Give them a starting berth in the team. And it's like, I'd rather someone who was United through and through and is talented, like Mason Greenwood. That's what I want. That's where you hit the sweet spot of pride, where they're a really talented player and they're a United through and through. United through and through, and they love the club. I always think, well, would they get picked for Man City? Would they get picked for Chelsea? They wouldn't even get there, the bloody bench. Do you think that the Jadon Sancho announcements will happen today between 5 and 7, says Daniel? I don't even care, Daniel, anymore. And I think, it'll be great when Sancho does get announced, but what a joke they've made of that. I mean, apparently it's some sort of technical bit of paperwork or something like that, but what a joke. I don't think United have planned, unless they're waiting for Sancho to come back from holiday. If we announce it today or tomorrow, they never planned to do that. They didn't plan to announce Sancho 9 days after we've done his medical and, a week after the new kit. If there's not some big reason for this, and I don't think there is by reading between the lines, it's just some technical delay. What a waste. What a waste of an opportunity. But look, we've got the player. That's the main thing. Cameron Griffiths, welcome to the United Star Members Club. If you're building a Premier League dream team, then are you going with Paul Pogba or Kevin De Bruyne? Says Yaz. I'd get them both in. With fans in the ground to you, feel Ollie will still play McFred. Fans will demand from Ollie he plays Donny Moore if Pogba leaves. I don't think they will, Shawnuk. I don't know whether you've been to a football match before, but it doesn't work like that. There's not people chanting from the Stretford end, get Donny on and get Fred and McTominay off. That's not how it works. It's not how it works. Mark, but sometimes I feel like you are holding back your criticism for McTominay because he loved the club through and through, says Julian S. Mate, I wasn't really talking about any individual player, but I suppose McTominay does fit the bill. I wouldn't sell McTominay. So for me, it's not I don't dislike McTominay. I just don't know what he is. And I think a lot of people really like him, and a lot of people just don't know what he is. And I probably fall into the second category. I don't even know if he's good enough to play for United. I seem to say with McTominay every season it's a big season for him, and there is improvement. But he wouldn't be anywhere near a starting team for Man City or Chelsea or Liverpool. So he shouldn't be anywhere near a United team. But I'd have him on the bench. Hi Mark, if Pogba leaves and they don't get a replacement, how do you see our midfield, says Rashid? Very simple, it'll be McTominay and Fred, mate. Even if Pogba stays, it might be McTominay and Fred, because he might put Rashford on the wing. Anyway, let's get into the news. So Lingard, still very much a waiting game. Could go to West Ham, could stay at United. I think he'll end up staying at United. Romano also said that Manchester United are looking at a lot of midfielders at the moment, but it's not the priority. It's not the priority for United at the moment. The centre-back position is the priority. I think we're going to get an update today on midfield, because I saw something on Manchester Evening News yesterday saying that there should be an update about a midfielder today. So let's see what happens around lunchtime on that one. From what I've been told is that United, well, it's not far off what Romano's saying. Romano's saying Manchester United are looking at many midfielders. It's not a priority at the moment. A centre-back is. What I was told is that United do want a midfielder, but they're just not in advanced talks with anybody at the moment. And I think what that is for is because, again, for some reason, United don't know how to deal with more than one deal at a time. We never have. We don't do multiple deals at the same time. I think the last one I remember was Schweinsteiger and Schneiderlin were announced at around the same time. Ever since then, it always seems to be one deal at a time. It's like, we're doing Maguire, now we're doing Wan-Bissaka, then we're going to do Maguire. We're doing Sancho, now we're doing Varane. So I think with the midfielder, Saul Niguez, maybe Ruben Neves, maybe Camavinga, maybe a couple of others. But I don't think we're advanced. I mean, that could change in any time, but I don't think we're advanced. And it's not, as I said, the priority is Varane, and that's the one that we're working on at the moment, Raphael Varane. So that's where we are with the midfield. Hopefully, we'll get an update on that. Declan Rice, epic. I think United. I think United admire Declan Rice, but we just haven't got the money to do that deal. I also, with Declan Rice, I'm not bored about Declan Rice. I'd love him to come to United. I know that Declan Rice wants to go to Chelsea. It's well known. It's well known if you speak to certain people that he wants to go to Chelsea. I think Chelsea want Declan Rice. So that's, even if United want Declan Rice, I think he will go to Chelsea anyway. But I just don't think United have got the money. I really don't think they've got the money to spend 60, 70, 80 million pounds on Declan Rice. So I don't think it happened. Did you check Christian Falk's tweet now on Goretzka? I did. So basically, the Goretzka latest is that United have offered more money than Bayern Munich are going to offer, and that Goretzka could happen to Manchester United. But look, the thing that makes this deal not exciting is two things. I would take Goretzka at United, by the way. He can definitely play in a midfield too. He has got those sort of, and he's like an energetic goal scoring Michael Carrick. He has the passing range, he has the positional sense, but he's also decent at getting forward. He can play a multitude of positions. I think he'd be a very good signing for Manchester United. But this is not a signing for this summer. This is next summer. So, pardon me, I don't really want to know about this. I'm not interested in this. And also, what if we're just being used for a new contract? I mean, I heard somebody mentioning yesterday Kimmich to United. But then this morning, Kimmich's contract is up, but he doesn't have an agent and he's expected to stay at Bayern Munich. I think Goretzka wants to stay at Bayern Munich as well. But I don't think we'll get Goretzka. I think we're being used. And the second thing is, even if we do get him, he's not coming until next year. Well, next year's next year. I mean, like next year we might not need a midfield. I don't know. To me, the Goretzka thing is just like, meh. He's not coming now. So, whatever. United need to get Varane done now and stop messing about with 5 million. Preview have changed, says Dazo W. And also, Rashid says, I would love to see Sancho on the left and Greenwood on the right, as Rashford would be out till at least October. Your thoughts? Mate, to be honest with you, I'm not that bothered. Sancho off the right, Martial off the left, I'd be happy with that. What's really worrying me at the moment is that we are going to be Bagel FC again, because we know that we've got two decent fullbacks. With Varane and Maguire, you'd have two very good centre-backs. The goalkeeping situation, well, whatever. Let's see what happens there. And then you're going to have Sancho, Martial, or Sancho, Greenwood, Cavani, Bruno. Very happy with that. The problem is the engine room of the team, the point where they take the ball from the back four and give it to the players in front of them. We've seen what McFred can do to a team. They can make us hard to score against, but they can make us hard to watch. That's what I'm worried about at the moment. I'm not worried about Sancho on the wing. I'm worried about how Sancho gets the bloody ball. Because if it's slow ball, I mean, there was a goal, I saw it on social media, I don't think I tweeted it. There was this classic goal by Real Madrid. Van Nistelrooy scored it. and it started off at the right back position, and I think there's about 8 passes, and every pass is first time, and it ends up on the left hand side where a cross comes in first time, and then Van Nistelrooy just smashes it in. Fantastic Real Madrid goal. Yazza says Jude Bellingham, well done, don't know what that's all about. Absolutely fantastic goal. Anyway, and it's over about 20 seconds, and it's 8 people touch it, and everybody's first touch. And it's a brilliant goal, but when I watched it, I wish I could show this on the United stand, because this is what we talk about all the time. When we get the ball in the midfield, whether it's Matic, McTominay, Fred, Pogba, they get the ball, they have a look, they pass it sideways, or they have another touch. It's slow ball, and that allows defenders to get back into position, whether they're midfielders or whatever. You watch that goal that Real Madrid scored, and alright, it's a bloody good goal, but it also is an insight into what teams like Man City and Liverpool try to do. If you move the ball quickly, teams can't get into position as quick. Spaces are created. United move the ball so slowly, and it allows everybody to get back into position. You know, Luke Shaw can make his run, but if McTominay, Fred, Pogba, Matic are messing around in the midfield, the attacking right-sided players got plenty of time to run with him. But if Luke Shaw makes that run and Pogba dinks it over straight away, that right-sided attacker's got to be very, very quick to catch up with him or go with the run in the first place. United need to up the tempo. We've got the players in the attacking positions to benefit from it, but the tempo is so slow from that midfield too. That's what I'm worried about. I think if we can move the ball quicker, people like Sancho, Rashford, Martial, Greenwood, Cavani, Bruno, they're all going to benefit, but we move the ball too slow. And I don't think that's going to change by bringing in Varane and Sancho. We need a midfielder who can come in and make a real big difference. And I don't see that. And look, you know what? Josh is probably right. We need a new coach. A new coach would up the tempo. But Ollie could up the tempo. But is he going to do that with McTominay and Fred or Matic or someone like that playing in the midfield? Scared Varane's going to break down because we're so slow, says Charlie. There's a risk. I mean, it says it in the title of the show. There is a risk. Varane's not on holiday anymore. He's back at Madrid this morning. He's been in for medical tests. Tomorrow he'll probably be in the gym. And by Monday, I think he'll be training with the first team. When he's training with the first team, he's high-fiving Ancelotti. You know, maybe he starts to think it ain't so bad here. That's the risk United have got. I still listen here and I'm confident that this deal's going to happen. I really am. But, you know, the longer it takes, I don't want Varane training with Real Madrid. I think it's dangerous. And I don't think it needs to happen. But in defence of United, if Real Madrid are saying, we want 60 million, and United are like, we're only going to give you 50 million, well, we want 60 million, then United are 50 million, how are you going to close that down? How are you going to close that down? And yet again, you've got another player who's going to be, I'm not forcing a move, I'm going to be respectful, which is Varane, which is Maguire at Leicester, Wan-Bissaka at Crystal Palace, Bruno at Sporting Lisbon. We buy decent players, but then Sancho as well. Nobody wants to force the move. Like, nobody ever forces the move, which means United get locked into these negotiations and the player doesn't push it. But I do think Varane will definitely come to Manchester United. I've said definitely that's dangerous. I do think he will come to Manchester United, definitely, yeah. As of today. Things can change, but as of today, I think he will come. Pogba, I think he'll run his contract down. I'm not worried about him rejecting a contract. It's not even breaking news, really. I mean, he's probably rejected the contract 4 or 5 times over the last 18 months if United have been doing their job. So, for me, it's whether United want to sell Pogba on the cheap, and it's whether PSG can raise the money. But I don't think Pogba will leave. And as I said, it's a difficult situation, but I would rather now, I think, keep Pogba next season for 1 more year. Because I just don't trust United to replace him. What if Pogba goes and we buy Camavinga? Everyone will get dead excited, but it'll be McTominay and Fred. There ain't no way Ollie's going to pick an 18-year-old. No way. So my issue is, when Pogba's here, he has to start. And next season, he'll have to start in the midfield. And our midfield's better with Pogba in it. If Pogba's not here, you can't start him. So it'll be McTominay and Fred. And that to me is not as good as having Pogba there. So, yeah, I'm still very, very high in the percentage that we'll get Varane. Definitely, yeah. I think we will see. I mean, Leo says people are obsessed with McFred. If we didn't use them last season, there's absolutely no chance we would have got second. I think you're right, mate. I think, Leo, I'm not even going to disrespect you there. I think you're right. I don't think we would have got second without Scott McTominay and Fred. But at what price did we get second? Were we in a title race? Nope. Were we just the best of the rest? Yep. Did we play good football? No. Did we play with a back six a lot? Yep. You know, we didn't concede many goals, and a lot of people didn't like Maguire and Lindelof, and a lot of people didn't like McFred. We parked the bus a lot as a team last season, and McTominay and Fred and Maguire and Lindelof were a big reason for that. But why do you think Ollie's trying to replace Lindelof if we're so good? And why do you think we're trying to get rid of McFred if they're so good? They serve a purpose, but they hit their ceiling and they banged their head against it like this. They're never going to take you to a title. So yeah, they were a big reason why we got second place, and I'd argue that you're right, Leo, 100%. But was it Man United? No. Was it anywhere near good enough to win a title? No. Will it ever be good enough to win a title? No. You've got to improve on it. I don't think people are disrespecting it. I think just people just know that it's not good enough to win a title, which is what we should always be aspiring to do. Sell Pogba and buy now. Don't wait, says Steve Church. Well, that's the risk. I don't think that we would replace him. I hate Glazers, but I don't think Pogba is their fault. It's Pogba and Riola. Woodward couldn't do much more. Let him go SAP and start from here, says Thomas. Disagree, Thomas, and we're going round and round in circles here. I think you, Thomas, are letting your emotions run away with you because you've got pride, which is great. You're like, Pogba doesn't want to be here. If he doesn't want to be here, get rid of him. It's not simple, though, because you don't run the club, mate. If you were running the club, I'd be like, yeah, crack on. I know Thomas has got the best interests of the club at heart here. The people who run the club, they'll let Pogba go, and then they'll do nothing. They'll be like, yeah, well, he's gone now. That's it. If you've got the best interests of the club at heart, get rid of Pogba. Let's replace him properly. But I don't trust this club to do this because they didn't do it with Ronaldo and they didn't do it with Herrera. And there's plenty of other club players they've not done it with as well. That's my concern. We stubbornly say, go Pogba, get out, we'll be fine without you. You've just let one of the world's best midfielders go, and he is one of the world's best midfielders in my opinion, consistency or not, and not replaced him. And then you're going to tell me that that's not a loss. Of course it's a loss. You can't lose a player of that quality and not replace them. But I don't think United would replace him at all. I don't. Anyway, look, we could go on and on. Let's see what the day brings. Thanks everyone for watching. Smash a like on the video. Varane, I'm still very confident it's going to happen. I actually think Pogba will still be here next year. He just runs his contract down. Lingard, we'll have to wait and see. Goretzka, not even that interested because it's not going to happen till next summer anyway. Let's see what happens on a midfielder. We might have some news today. I feel fans may turn on Pogba in the stadium next season, says Fraser. Well, look, if Pogba really wants to go, and that might be a factor, then maybe he will go. But I don't think Pogba's that pushed on going to PSG. I'm not convinced by it at all, but we'll see. Thanks for watching. Make sure you subscribe, bottom right hand corner, smash a like on the video, and I'll speak to you all very soon. Thank you for watching. Have a good day and take care.